This is Talking with Burritos, the podcast that's giving you something to talk about when you want to talk about movies and media entertainment. I am Jerry J.J. Wayne Graham, and on this podcast episode, we're going to be talking about how much I suck at predicting winners for the Oscars, and also Steven Spielberg and what he has against Netflix. So let's get into my Oscar ballot. I did horribly. I will never fill one of these things out again because I am just not good. The Oscars have become so unpredictable. I remember if you won Best Picture, if you won Best Director, Best Leading Man, Best Leading Actress, Best Costume Design, Best Story, you pretty much was a shoo-in to win Best Picture. In the recent years, the Oscars have led you one way to think that they're voting one way and then leaning towards the other. And then in the final outcome, you just have this surprise ending. Whoa, didn't see that coming. This movie wasn't supposed to win. We had another one of those scandalous events this year with the win for Best Picture, Green Book. Was it deserving? Who's to say? The Motion Picture Industry voters, the Hollywood Guild, Directors Guild voters, everyone thought that movie was the one to win. Now, I don't know what point system because I heard their point system was kind of weird and askew, and that even if you are a favorite, you might not win. I don't understand that, and I don't really want to get into the politics of it all or understand or nitpick about that. It's just weird. You have to campaign, you get votes, people are sent DVD screeners, which I thought they said they weren't going to do this year, or maybe in the subsequent years they're going to do away with screeners because people steal screeners. You're a director or a writer and you're sent a screener, but your little dumbass kid is sitting there like, oh, look, I got this Green Book. I'm going to put it in my computer and copy it and put it out on the web to share. But whatever, let's get into my Oscar ballot. First of all, Regina King won for If Beale Street Could Talk. Guess who I put? I did not pick her. I thought it was going to be either Emma Stone or Rachel Weisz. I really wanted one of those, and so I chose Rachel Weisz. Not because I didn't think Regina King was deserving. I kind of didn't. I don't know what they're going for. I thought Rachel Weisz had more of a prominent role in her movie. Regina King was a supporting part, and she did have a terrific scene. I didn't think that they gave her the scenes needed to be eligible to win an Oscar. I know that sounds weird, but her screen time. I didn't think she had enough screen time to warrant an Oscar win. So that goes back to my misunderstanding of how they judge. I think what they do is they send out these DVD screeners, and when they send out their ads or their promotions, they send a scene from the movie or maybe a highlight reel from the movie. If you were courting a basketball player or a basketball player is sending you his demo reel, that's what the studios do for their potential nominees. So either the DVD screener, which is the movie, or they send out a promotional reel to the voters. And there are some scenes in this movie that are great. That Regina King, that first scene, this family, this closed-in scene where they were in this house and she was confronted, the mother of her child's boyfriend, really religious person who looked down upon them. Regina King killed that role. That scene was just straight out of my mama's house or my auntie's house. You know, I just remember seeing that occur inside a home, inside this family dynamic where everyone isn't all the same and some people look at other people a different way. No. And then you have this mama bear just come to the defense of her child. That scene, yes. If you want to judge it by that scene, I would give her that scene. A very strong showing of her acting skill. And she's really been on the spectrum. She's been doing a lot of things, and I just recently learned that she directs. She did voice acting. She did a lot of things. She does a lot of things. She's very active in this industry. If they said, oh, supporting actress here for this role, and they gave me highlights of her performance, and I saw that, and I compared it to Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz, Amy Adams, and the woman from Roma, can't pronounce her name, I would say yes, Regina King stole that. Again, we don't know what criteria they're judging by. Because I used to think it was from screen time. If you had many scenes in a movie, then I thought that made you more credible in the eyes of the Academy because you had more lines to say and more things to do. I didn't know who to choose in this one for actor. Who did I choose? Let's see. For actor in a supporting role, I went with Sam Elliott because, again, I was like, okay, well, I don't know. How would they judge this? I just went with Sam Elliott just because of that one scene. That one scene him and Bradley Cooper had and that exchange. And again, he didn't have many lines. He didn't have many scenes, but if it's based on performance in a role for that character, this is what they had to offer for that character. For me, I thought he really brought it. Now, this is totally different for Mahershala Ali, who actually was a pivotal figure in this role. He was the commanding, or they said supporting, I would say commanding lead, but he was one of the leads in this movie, The Green Book. I didn't think it was anything Mahershala Ali could not do. It just seemed like a drop in the bucket for him. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm playing this guy. Cool. I can do this. I went with Sam Elliott because I thought he was more deserving for that role. But let me say this. I saw the movie Green Book after the Oscars, like a couple of days after, and I thought the same thing. I was like, yeah, it was good, but I didn't think it was as powerful as I wanted it to be. A little bit more playful. Maybe that was just my expectation to want more drama, more, I guess, trepidation, traveling to the deep south and encountering the uncivil ways of the people who live there, the people who have yet to change or want to change, and then against those who have acclimated. I don't know, acting is great, man. Acting takes a lot, but I didn't really think that they pushed Mahershala on this one. I just knew it was something. Maybe he's just that good though. He's that good of an actor that he's like, I made this look easy. I make it look easy. So I didn't choose him for that either. Actor in a leading role. Shoot, I didn't even know who to go with this one. And I'm going to tell you, I had a reaction towards Rami Malek winning this award, and I just did not see it. I'm sorry. I did not enjoy Bohemian Rhapsody. I have a podcast episode on it. You can check that one out at talkingwithburritos.com/86. I did not like him in this movie. My wife had to hold my hand, basically, because I did not want to throw something at my television. I'm sorry. Not that he's not a great actor. I love Mr. Robot. Great show. Still haven't finished it. Not caught up yet. But he does very well in that television program. I can see how people say that this was deserving of him. I did not choose him. Almost, I got angry. But who would I choose? I chose William Dafoe. And again, I didn't see this movie. I guess out of all of them, sure, Christian Bale was great, but Christian Bale's doing great things. Always doing great things. Bradley Cooper, no, that wasn't going to win for me. Viggo Mortensen, no, wasn't worth it. I didn't see it at Eternity's Gate. I just thought, hey, something about Van Gogh, and it's William Dafoe. It might win. So I chose him just because I did not want to choose Rami Malek. I'm sorry. That's just horrible to say. That's why I hate Oscar ballots. Okay, leading actress. I chose Olivia Colman. I liked her in that role, and it just seemed that no, I did not choose her. Actually, I did go with Glenn Close. I thought I went with Olivia Colman, but I went with Glenn Close because I just wanted her to win. I thought there was going to be one of these legacy awards where they're like, you know what? She's been here enough times, so why not give it to her? And as Olivia Colman put it, as she accepted her speech, I won't be here again. I wouldn't sell myself that short because she is a great actress from what I've seen of her. But Glenn Close will be around for some time now, some time later. And she has more roles coming to her that she can slay. Too bad for her. I wish she would have won it. I like Olivia Colman too because she's just a bright, shining star. I think it was deserving. I thought The Favorite would be the favorite this year for the Oscars. And I thought it was going to sweep all of the categories. That's just me. I was a little bit biased. Animated feature. Come on, man. And Spider-Verse. That had to be Spider-Verse. I was talking to a young lady at work, and she was talking, and she was like, no, Isle of Dogs. I'm like, they're never going to give Isle of Dogs, a Wes Anderson film, that credit. And we were talking about the importance of claymation and how dutiful of a job that is, how cumbersome of a job that is. And I agree. Claymation doesn't get the credit it is due. I think that one year that maybe it was Brave that won, I wanted Monster House to win because Monster House was a great movie. Very well executed. Kubo, another one, should have won it, but I forgot what that movie was against. Oh, no, shoot. That was actually against, I think, Coco, right? So Coco, yeah, Coco made me cry. So, yeah, I had to go with Coco. But still, I still loved it. Also, claymation doesn't get the praise that it should or the attention. People really should start looking into what it takes. That's why they do those outtakes on Leica. I think it's Leica Films, that production company. They, in the credits show you how they go about building these set pieces. And oh my gosh, it has to be harder. And I know on the computer it's the same thing as molding on a computer, say so. Long hours spent at a desk, moving pieces here or there, matching its movements to your actor. Very hard work, but I'm thinking claymation takes the gambit on this one because, it is such a great art. It takes a great skill to be able to successfully execute this medium, that medium. Cinematography, yeah, that was okay, if you saw The Favorite, this guy had so many cool angles. He moved the camera around a lot, and they were doing these sweeping angles, these long tracking shots. I thought for sure that would win it. I told you, The Favorite was going to be my favorite this year in the Oscars. It was an auteur film. It was one of those movies that the Oscar usually loves and will award. But they went with Roma. Roma, again, I didn't watch till after the Oscars. So I was like, maybe. But I went with The Favorite because, again, my favorite. But Roma, after watching him, like, okay, well-deserved. Alfonso Cuarón, well-deserved film because there was some just the beginning. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. Just the beginning shot. Just water being splashed upon tile. Just water. It's just something so simple about this filmmaking process for this movie that made it nostalgic to old films like Ingrid Bergman and Godard, not of this time filmmaking. Well, it is of this time. Certain people are doing it. Just some of those shots were just so beautiful. And I'll tell you one of my favorite moments later from Roma that I would like to celebrate for 2018, the actual moments that were just great in film. And I say he does deserve it, the award for cinematography, although I did go with The Favorite. To me, it was my favorite. Costume design, I went with the black. Oh, nope. I went with The Favorite. Why? Because they had these cool costume designs. Oh, no. Wait, nope. I lied. I went with the actual Black Panther due to popular demand. I'm sorry. That's how I did it. But If anything, I would have went with The Favorite because, again, this was one of those films that Hollywood in the past would have awarded the award to. Directing, Roma. I did get directing right. I chose Alfonso Cuarón for Roma. I did choose that one. For Best Picture, let's see, documentary feature, I went with RBG. Okay, crowd favorite. Never saw any of them. I never saw the other ones. But Free Solo one. I totally messed that up. Short film. Short subject, I went with Period Endgame, End of Sentence. Why? Because it sounded cool. I got that one right. Film editing. I actually got this one. What did I get on this one? Oh, yeah, film editing. Got it wrong. For film editing, I think I got film editing correct by going with Bohemian Rhapsody. Believe that one. Not happy about that one either. Okay, foreign language film. I went with Capernaum. A friend of ours said this is the best movie of the year, the best one she's seen. And so I was like, oh, cool. That should be great. And so I went with that. Would I have chosen Roma? I should have chosen Roma. But again, I didn't see the movie, but I would have chosen Roma if I saw a damn movie. Because great film. Makeup and hairstyling. Okay, I went with Vice because that was just crazy. Original score. I went with If Beale Street Could Talk, but then Black Panther won, which is good for Black Panther. Original song. Or did I ruin that one? Shallow. Everyone got that thing, right? Because that was a crowd favorite. You cannot spend that many weeks on iTunes or the Billboard's top 5 without winning this damn award. I'm sorry. It has to be a good song to somebody, to millions of people. So, and it was great. Production design. I went with First Man, and I lost that because it went to Black Panther. Good for them. Oh, no. Production design, I went with The Favorite again. And it made a short film, Bayo. I wanted to choose Bayo. Seriously, one of the favorites. But when I watched it a second time, I was like, oh, that's not as funny. But then I guess it was about the initial reaction. The initial reaction was like, oh, yeah, that was going to win. But then I went through and I saw the other ones. And so I chose something that I thought was different. I chose Animal Behavior. It's just about all of these animals in a sit-down session with a psychiatrist. I thought that was hilarious. Thought they were going to go different, but they did not. Animated short film. That's what that was. Live action short film. Okay. Skin was dope. Skin was great, but I'm like, well, will they award Skin because it seems less auteur-y, less independent, and more mainstream? I want to go with something different. So I went with Detainment. This disturbing story about 2 kids who abducted this boy from the local mall, and they later found the kid dead. The cops bringing these kids in and interrogating them. And it got so real there for a second. And it's like, oh, I do not want to watch this. I don't want to hear about this. I actually had spoke to a woman too, who walked out. She's like, she told me, she's like, do these films get better? This is totally depressing. She was damn near tears watching these films because you had Skin about racism. You had this movie about 2 kids killing a toddler. You have the first film. You got the first film about a kid who's on the phone with his mother. He thinks who's about to maybe be abducted. He's separated from his father somehow. And then you have another kid get trapped in quicksand who dies. It's so weird about a kid who couldn't save his friend from drowning in quicksand. So yes, this woman walked out of there. She was totally distraught. I'm like, okay, go in during the animated shorts and it should get better for you because at least you get to watch Bayo, which is funny and heartfelt, and Animal Behavior, which is just a hoot and holler. Sound editing, but Bohemian Rhapsody won the award, but I went with First Man because why not go with First Man? The sound editing was great. Just the people, astronauts being cooped up in this small cockpit, this small craft, and it is rickety, and you hear all these noise, and you maybe hear like like metal rattling, and like this thing is about to fall apart, and you feel so claustrophobic in that moment with them. Like, oh my goodness, why did they go up into space? Why would you risk your life in this vessel? I thought that was great. It didn't win. Sound mixing. Oh, what did I go with? I think sound mixing I actually got right because they gave that to Bohemian Rhapsody as well. Visual effects. Now, this is just bullshit. Visual effects. They gave it to First Man. They had one job. One job, and that was to get this one right. And, okay, you had Avengers. $200 million movie. Special effects. Maybe plus that. Spent on special effects, and you give it to First Man. You have Ready Player One, where they recreated the scene from The Shining, and you don't give it to that movie. Like, come on. Solo. Even Solo, a Star Wars story, had more visual effects than First Man. First Man needed, like, the mixing and all that stuff. Come on. And that was a rob. They robbed them. Christopher Robin, I don't even know why that was in there, but I guess it has some cute stuff and bears running around. But still, no, I would have gave it, like, seriously, I actually chose Ready Player One. I thought based on the merit of that one scene, recreating The Shining, that would win. And plus, that entire movie was VFX. Adapted screenplay. I got this one right, y'all. Black Panther. Sweet. I got this one correct. Black Panther for that movie. And, Spike Lee got out there. He was rather joyful. Let's put it like that. He was joyful. And he had a lot of things to say. Basically, F you, Academy. But it's too bad. The man has deserved a lot of these awards in the past. I would think that Malcolm X was the crowning achievement and that he should have won for that. But what can you do? He was passed over for Driving Miss Daisy for Best Picture. And now his anger or disappointment for not winning Best Movie, now I think that was a little too much. But your movie is out there. You have to support your movie, even though it might be up against all these other heavyweights, all these other favorites. My reaction wouldn't have been as petty. That's a horrible word to use, but as petty as his was, the odds of him winning, he had less of a chance of winning for Best Picture than maybe he believed. Or maybe he just thought what the rest of us thought. It's like, Green Book, really? Why? Original screenplay. I chose Roma, I believe. And I chose Roma, didn't choose Green Book. I just chose Roma because I just went with it because I'm like, it's up for an Oscar and it was an original film. I scored an 8 out of 24 on my Oscar ballots. That was just basically horrible. I will never do this again. Seriously. Ever since, no, I will not do. I even told my boss, I'm like, I'm not filling out one of those things. But then it was crunch hours. I was at work and I was like, okay, I'm going to fill one out. We put in my 2 cents. I was feeling a little cocky because I saw more movies this year than other years. I was good. I was like, at least I have the knowledge. I saw these. My Oscar ballot actually just sucked. It was horrible. They're very poor results. I will never do one again. The Green Book was, quote unquote, for some people, a disappointment win. Now, if I was the filmmakers of this movie, if I was the writer, I'd maybe have a way with this. If I was anyone in film, I would have a way with this or have a thought about this that is critical of the way people see art. Okay? If I can formulate that correctly. This is an art piece. And so that leads into my objection to why awards matter. Do they matter? A lot of people like to get up there and say it's about I'll say that it's about the art, that we're celebrating the art. But in the end, yes, you're celebrating the art by what? Nominating a select few, and out of that few selecting a winner, one that is better than the other ones, or one that is voted better than the others. I think that we should actually celebrate the films as a whole. They have, but do have a lot of awards every year celebrating film. It allows people to get dressed in their snazziest outfits and walk the red carpet, schmooze with other people in their ilk. But who's to say that Green Book wasn't the best picture of the year? All those pictures were good. So as my favorite was the favorite, other people's, someone else's was Roma. Someone else's favorite was Black Panther. Someone else's favorite was Green Book. And if you see how well Green Book is tracking, even to this day, it's on VOD right now. It's video on demand. You can download and stream it. Hasn't come out on DVD yet, but it's still playing in theaters on a full run. And people are watching it right now, selling out auditoriums to watch this film, to still see this film. So, and I know someone who actually said that she saw Bohemian Rhapsody 5 times. And I was like, what the hell is your problem? Like, are you dumb? No, I didn't say that. But I did think that, like, really? You saw that movie 5 times? No. When you get to this whole award season and end of the year things, it's people start ranking movies and doing that. I think we should start talking about film as a whole. And I know they're never going to go away. And we do give into it. I give into it every year. And a lot of years, even after Oscars So White, I was like, I think I wrote something about this. I'm like, I'm never watching an Oscar again. I swear to you, I will not. But then I watched them again this year. And I was captivated. I sat there the entire time watching it. I do like the celebration of film. To call it a disappointment when that's kind of a slap in the face to the director and everyone involved. If you know how much it takes to put a film together from start to finish, from writing the script to production, to submitting it to studios, to getting the approval, to budgets, to catering, to casting, it's a lot. And all of these movies are great. And I think most of the time when we vote or if we choose on our ballots a certain movie, we're doing it based on our experience. Some of us actually do research and some of us just say, oh, well, these people wrote about this one, though, so this should be good. A lot of us who watch the movies based it on what we thought. And as you can see, on some of the movies I chose, I didn't see Roma. I didn't see Green Book. I couldn't even tell you. So I was just going with what I knew. And most people don't see half of these damn movies that are on this list. And so they're just guessing. But the people in the Academy, they get the screeners. Maybe they watch them. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're just going with their gut instinct. I do like the spectacle of the Oscars. And it's always been my dream to one day win an Oscar. No, not many people know that. For my 10th year at the place at my job, they awarded us, I forgot what I got. Well, I got this catalog. I could have gotten, I think, I could choose something from like a bracelet or a necklace or something. I can't remember what it was. You could choose something from Tiffany. I chose something from Tiffany's. And I chose these cufflinks. And I said, one day I'm going to make it to the Oscars and I will wear these cufflinks. And that was my anniversary gift. And so I still have those cufflinks. And I said I will never wear them until I get to the Oscars. So I still like the Oscars. I just think we put so much onus on other people telling us what's good rather than relying on our own perceptions. Just go with the Oscars and just say, hey, that's the award season. This is just what they do in Hollywood. A lot of people probably would have been like, yeah, who cares? Most of them are like that. And most of them put in the work where they think, okay, having this accreditation is worth it. Is worth the notability to be there because it really can propel your career. If someone wins an Oscar for cinematography, then it's like, okay, well, I never heard of this guy. Let's get him for this next big blockbuster film. Oh, Emma Stone, or shoot, let's go with someone Jennifer Lawrence of Winter's Bone. She wins an Oscar. And after that, she's like, bam, she's on the spectrum. She's doing all kinds of movies after that. Brie Larson, she didn't go crazy with her roles. I think she did that Free Fire movie. And I don't know what she did after that, but then she got Captain Marvel. But a lot of people have gone on to do better things, more things with their career based on their wins or showings at the Oscars. They've gotten jobs from that. So it does its part. It allows the Academy and other people in the industry to notice your work. But for regular audiences, people like you and me, better that we just celebrate moments in film, the moments that we like. Like to say this is a disappointment win kind of sucks. I think it was, but then I can contrast that. I can contradict what I'm saying. After watching Roma, I was like, damn, why didn't this win Best Picture? I really couldn't understand it. I could not understand why this did not win Best Picture. We can go into that later with the whole Netflix thing. But it's possible that, they didn't want to award Roma, give them that statue. Green Book was not, to me, one of those films. It wasn't the film amongst those films to win it. But it's not to say that it wasn't good. There were some beautiful shots in there. They had some beautiful moments, some beautiful scenes. But I still think The Favorite was more entertaining of a film, more visually striking. This seemed rather mundane of a showing. Roma is just very artistic, and you saw it there. But then you take in this very artistic, independent movie, black and white, against this period piece, this other period piece that was in the striking color, and the subtext was a little bit different, majorly different, not a little, majorly different. So I don't know, man. Just to say that it wasn't that good, it kind of sucks. But like I would say, Crash sucks as a movie. Like talk about disappointment wins. Crash over Brokeback Mountain. Everyone knows that was a bust. Come on. We all know that and knew that was a bust. And like Moonlight winning over La La Land. La La Land won every other award that year. But then you're going to give Best Picture to Moonlight, who won like 1 or 2 awards. That just goes to show you don't know how they're judging these films. What point systems they go by when they tally these all up and then say, hey, this one is going to this movie. And what I'm saying is don't take the awards season seriously. If you're not the actual people who attend the awards ceremonies, if you're not related to anyone like that, I don't think you should really take it that serious or get all in your feelings about the disappointments at the Oscars. Crash, seriously? Crash over Brokeback Mountain? Come on. They got all the awards that year. I wouldn't say it's a bad film. I'd say let's celebrate art for what art is worth. Our own individual perceptions, our own experiences with it. So at this time then, I want to take a look back at 2018. Things that stuck out to me that really struck me as like, wow, that's a great scene in a movie. Well, that's something good in a movie. I talked about the sound editing and the sound mixing and First Man. Great. Having them in the cockpit and hearing all these screws rattling and metal shaking, they're passing through the atmosphere. Spaceship, this craft, this capsule that they were traveling in, sounds like it's going to break apart. So it puts you on edge. Like, oh my goodness, even though you know they eventually land on the moon, you're thinking they're going to die right now because this thing is not going right. Then you got some shots of screws coming out. Oh my goodness, they're going to die. Ryan Gosling is going to die in this movie. That's what I'm talking about. It's those moments that I love. That's those moments that we as the audience, let the Academy and stuff do all that because that's what they're there for. But for audiences, I think we should share more of those instances throughout the year, not just at the end of the year, throughout the year. Matty P, every movie that he watches, he's sworn to like write a movie review for it. You can find it at Facebook on Neo Cinema. And he just writes movies. He loves movies and he wanted to write about them. And he got discouraged once. He was like, okay, I don't think a lot of people are listening. And I feel that was the same way too. Maybe people aren't listening. Maybe people aren't reading. I talked to some of they read them. And it's all about just putting your thoughts out there. Someone will read them eventually. And it might become a fan of yours. And you might be their critic or their person to turn to talk about movies. Share what you like about the film. Maybe a scene or something. Don't spoil a film for somebody. Just tell a scene. I'll give you a case in point. Here's an example of what you could do. I said The Favorite was pretty much my best picture of the year. I'm sorry. Roma was I loved The Favorite until I saw Roma. Roma was pretty damn great. Okay, so let's talk about Roma then. I'll tell you what I loved about Roma. 2 scenes. Okay, 3. Not ruining anything. There's this big reveal, and it's this big, huge riot happening in the street. And you pull out, and you just see all these instruments of being used as weapons in the streets, beating people, pushing them back, people running around, people being shot in the streets. It's like, oh my goodness. And then this reveal happens. And it's just so like, it was just so well executed. This scene I told you at the beginning, where it's just water on tile being splashed on tile. And then you hear a brush scrubbing. Then you see the water. Then you see suds of soap. And it was going down this drain. And that's all that beginning scene was. But yet it's all about the sounds and putting you in there, cleaning water. And then you have the water right there, right? And then you have another scene right in the middle, almost in the middle, of someone's water breaking. Oh, my goodness. And then at the end, another scene of a woman going into an ocean. Oh, my goodness. It's those things. That's what makes Roma Best Picture to me. Because putting all those scenes together, you see he was telling us something. And they all have meaning. All those scenes had meaning. So like the favorite was more action meets this thing happens. With Roma was giving you pictures. And it was telling story with pictures, which is what movies are about. And a lot of these scenes they have sound, but some of them are best told by silence and just showing you what's happening. So that's, to me, what makes Roma the best picture of the year. Because it's all about the pictures, successfully showing you the movie instead of telling you the movie. I love that. So watch that movie. I do recommend it on Netflix. Another scene, man, this one is on par with the look that Cate Blanchett gave Brad Pitt and Benjamin Button. I don't know if you guys remember that when Benjamin Button was about to try to leave, dip out on his wife, and he just turns around and Cate Blanchett is staring into his soul. And she gives him this look and he just freezes. And it was, I'm getting shivers right now, man. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about that scene because she just gives him the deadest of stares. She looks at him and she just didn't have to say anything. She said it all with her eyes. Oh, beautiful. So now we go to the favorite. Great, a lot of great scenes in here. But one that really took me back, there was this scene where Rachel Weisz's character, walks in on Emma Stone in bed with the Queen. And it was just this very Baroque-esque, Caravaggio type. I would say, was it Baroque? Yeah, Baroque-esque shot. You had the light perfectly on Emma Stone and just surrounded by darkness. But then she has this light just positioned on her, one breast exposed. And it was so picturesque. And her look sold it all. She just did it with her eyes, man. She just did it with her eyes. That scene took me aback because it was dark, you got candlelight, and then she sees her and she's just lying there staring at her. But she has this beautiful just light on her. This heavy contrast of light and dark was practiced by people in the Baroque like Caravaggio and Rembrandt. That was a beautiful, beautiful scene. I say watch that movie for that scene, but a lot more too because it was entertaining, it was funny, and it was heartfelt at times. And check out Olivia Colman. You can tell that she's just a nice person and she's very gracious for the opportunity to be in film, to be where she is today. And that is what really means the most to me, is seeing those people who really take advantage of their time in the spotlight to show how grateful they are for being able to practice this craft and to do the thing that they love. Let's go down some more. Oh man, what about Sorry to Bother You? An overlooked film. I would have to say it is overlooked a little bit, but Sorry to Bother You, when they revealed the horse human hybrid. How many people weren't just like, what WTF? What is that? What is that disgusting looking thing? Hilarious. Topher Grace, when he that look of befuddlement after being duped by a black guy, this KKK member just realizing that he's just been he befriended a black guy over the phone without even knowing. And I'm gonna say Tessa Thompson. ... She's awesome. She was also in Sorry to Bother You. Love Tessa Thompson. I hope you're gonna see more of her this year, though. You're gonna see more of her this year, but something about her, I just really love her, and I think she has a lot ahead of her. She has a great career ahead of her, and once she gets that one role that really will allow her to explore the depths of her acting skill, I really think she's gonna surprise us there. And again, I'm gonna say Ready Player One. That Shining recreation, awesome. The fake ending in Sicario. Now, I've talked about this too. It's on my blog, Talking with Burritos. Whereas it's like, okay, that happened. Like, how you gonna kill off the assassin? But is he really dead? Oh no. But that one took me about. Overlord, killing zombies, Nazi zombies, because it was just a well done film that was not overlooked, but it was given a lot of critical acclaim. Just an enjoyable film. Go watch that one. The Quiet Meditation of the First Man. They were up against so many odds, but yet they did it with this quiet meditation that mimicked the personality of the man that they were depicting in this movie. The use of the iPhone in Unsane, when you have this woman thinking that she's crazy, thinking she's being followed, but then you think she's crazy, but then maybe she isn't crazy, but then maybe she is. Oh my, good twist at the end of this movie. Go watch that. Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, all of the practical effects, this man jumping around, breaking his ankle, then continuing to run across a rooftop. And my last suggestion for great movies, great film moments of 2018 would be The Foot in the Nail in The Quiet Place. Come on. If you guys did not freaking retch or just really get squeamish in your seats when you saw that foot about to just land on that, she lands on that nail and it goes into her foot. Oh my goodness, that was so horrible, but so great at the same time. It just made you scream. But then another part of that movie, they did so well foreshadowing this film. It's like, okay, you open up and she's pregnant. This woman is pregnant, but she's about to have a baby. You see, she's had other babies. She's had other babies, but she's about to have a baby, and you can't scream. How can you not scream and you have a baby? You're having a baby. So great foreshadowing. It led to the tension of this film. Great job directing on that one. Wow, they really showed some horror right there. So I would say, yeah, it was a horror movie, but more suspense thriller to me. But it did have the horror elements. Why? Because it did include monsters. So, take it how you like it. And so let's go to Netflix showing themselves. Really, showing themselves during the Oscars. Whereas, okay, it's cool. They didn't win. But this happened during the Oscars early on, maybe with midway through. You see this, just bullet shells. You hear Robert De Niro talking, Harvey Keitel, Al Pacino. You see all these people, you hear all these people talking, these familiar voices speaking in the background. There's black screen, and then you see bullet shells just kind of coming down, like raining down on this with this black backdrop. And then all of a sudden you see The Irishman coming soon. Coming fall or something like that. Coming soon. Yeah, coming soon. Netflix. How much shade was that? How much shade was that, man? They basically said, okay, look here, Oscars, ABC, whoever you are, we're going to pay this $1 million, and we're going to run this commercial for our next movie that will make it to the Academies next year. So if you don't give us this damn award this year, well, we're going to see you next year, too. Because I think they're supposed to have at least 2 possible Oscar-worthy films. And they didn't even show us anything. They just showed a title card. They just showed a title card of The Irishman. And you heard these voices in the background. It's like, oh, my goodness. Yep, they're going to do this. With that, Netflix trying to shade the Academy. Not shade them, but they're just forewarning them, saying, hey, we're going to be here next year, so get ready for us. We are here to stay. And with that said, Spielberg, recently, right after the Oscars, about a week or so, that he will speak at the Academy of Arts about Netflix and Amazon and their eligibility for this coveted Academy Oscar award. He just wants to preserve the sanctity of film. He doesn't want the likes of Netflix and some of these other streaming services to jeopardize the foundation of the film industry. He's against the Academy allowing movies like Roma to be so successful or to be awarded the Oscars, which is an award designed for films that show in theaters. His argument is that such streaming services like Netflix and Amazon are television and should be reserved only for like the Golden Globes or BAFTAs, television awards, because they aren't shown in theaters. So how could they be considered motion pictures? And it's not like they don't want to. Netflix wants to show in the movie theaters, but there's a little hitch there. Most of the major chains of theaters will not show movies presented by Netflix or Amazon in theaters simultaneously as they're streaming. If there's a movie being released that advertises to show on VOD, maybe a week or 2 weeks later, then they will pull whatever they have advertising that film. They are against it. Netflix wants to be able to run those films simultaneously, like release a movie in theaters, and then maybe a week or two out, have it available on their streamable services. Spielberg, he has a point about that. Yes, he does have a point because that's how film has always been. Movies nominated for Oscars played in theaters because we had no other mediums to watch them, and that's it. We did not, in the 80s, 90s, you did not have a Netflix. You did not have an Amazon. But now we do. We don't know yet what he's going to say, but if he's saying to not allow them to do it, then propose another option. Like Netflix is spending millions of dollars on movies, producing movies, original content, doing what it is other studios do as well. They produce movies.
Oh, I have to interject here. Because they are not a major studio that gets distribution, Netflix, they cannot so simple as release a movie to theaters and have it watched by the movie-going audience.
Now, without that ability, with that ineligibility, Netflix can't do that. But they are technically acting as a studio who produces movies. But they just can't find the distributors to get those movies into theaters. And that's where lies the problem. So what is the other option? Do you create an Academy Awards of streaming services? Because I know they have, short films released on like Vimeo, short films released on YouTube, short films released on Facebook. You have all these different other ways of viewing material, reviewing movies. So what is the option other than just the Golden Globes? But I do understand his wanting to preserve Hollywood as it has always been and who it is dedicated to. But as with everything else, don't we all have to adjust? Don't we all have to adjust to the time and adjust to change? And that is change. Now, I'm not saying that they're all going to just open their arms to allow Netflix to show in their theaters. I get that watching a movie in the movie theaters is what it's all about. And didn't one of the notable director, he came out, I think Werner Herzog, he came out and said, like, movies aren't meant to be seen on like a tiny screen. And that's pretty much the sentiment that Spielberg is making. Like, no, they're television. That's viewership. That's television movies. That's television. You're able to see it at home. You sit at home, you watch it. You don't go to a movie theater to watch Roma. You're not going to a movie theater to watch those movies. That's only television. But if you won't allow Netflix in that space, then how can they be credible as movies worthy of an Academy Award nod? We don't know how far this will go. We don't know if he's just speaking out of his ass. But it's worth saying, yes, because there is that argument, and there are a lot of people who believe that. Is it why Roma was not awarded Best Picture? If it was, then that's some petty crap. It'd be like, oh, well, we're not going to give this to Roma, so we'll just give it to the least likely option, Green Book. Now, that would be some petty stuff for the Academy, but they gave them much. They gave, I guess, because Alfonso Cuarón, he's a favorite. He's won like 5 awards or something like that. He does great work. And you see these directors, they're going where people are allowing them the freedom to make their films. And I think that's pretty much where it lies. Scorsese, Fincher, these directors, notable directors, are going over to Netflix and making films. The Irishman is set to be a darn good film. And I guess we're just using it by a name alone. We're just saying, oh, well, if it's Scorsese, then it's going to be great. Well, we could be just, lying to ourselves or just setting ourselves up for disappointment. But the likelihood here is they gave this man a lot of money to produce this film for them on their platform. I guess it'll behoove them to discredit it because it's released on Netflix. Aren't movies meant to be seen? And Netflix has given a lot of people the freedom to make the movies that they want and to have them viewed more so than they would in the movie theater. Studios are releasing less and less movies. They are not taking the chances that they used to. They are releasing less movies, so that means less content. But guess who's making more content? Amazon, Netflix. And guess who's consuming it? The people. Why? They know that content. The more the content, the more people will watch. And it's kind of sad because you see the Hollywood industry doing that. They're making less movies. It's all about the blockbuster. That's why comic book movies are a thing now. They have the potential to make millions and millions of dollars for the studio. So why not invest in them, in these event films? And that's what it is, event films. Rather than producing stories to tell stories, they're producing event films, films that will make them money. Maybe the movie theater isn't the next Netflix platform. Understand protecting this zeitgeist, protecting what it is that is Hollywood, what they've been synonymous for. But then how does Hollywood adapt to the times? They've done so. They've allowed Mudbound the previous year. And I think there was another feature. And then you have this year, you have Period? That movie, the Period movie, they won 2 Oscars this year. Maybe not for Best Picture. They didn't win Best Picture, but they won. Alfonso Cuarón won for, his movie that was produced on Netflix. But you're willing to give the artist the accreditation, and not the film. And not to say that, Green Book won because they didn't want to award Roma the Best Picture, but what is being said is that maybe we shouldn't even allow these movies in there. So therefore, do you not acknowledge the director? Do you not acknowledge the writer? How far does this go? Do you just relegate them to television, to the Golden Globes? And this, which is not just not a demotion, because the best thing about this is that your film is seen. Netflix is allowing a lot of movies to be seen. A lot of movies on the back end where you're looking like, oh, what the hell is this film? But they allow a lot of movies to be seen. They pick up a lot of movies, Hulu, Amazon, Netflix. They pick up a lot of movies from these film festivals that will not otherwise be chosen by a major studio. And they'll play them on their platform, giving these auteurs, these artists, an audience. So, yeah. So how do they adapt to the times? Or is it just that, you just make the Academy exclusive? to anything that's shown on screen. And with that said, then how about petition to studios to make more films, to take more chances on films? We have less and less like romantic comedies, less and less comedies coming out. Real, just some of those gems, the ones that you find like in Old School, A Wedding Singer, A Wedding Crashers, Knocked Up. See, so you have a lot of these movies that are being passed on. But then Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, they're right there to scoop them up, to try to give them a chance. Because why? They have the platform to show them. So does it really necessarily mean that you have to be considered for the Oscar? Does that mean anything? It does mean a lot. It means a lot to a lot of people who've won the Oscars, who've been nominated to the Oscars. It means a lot for jobs, for people who work the Oscars every year, who from the traffic cop to the street sweepers, to the security, to the caterers. That stuff means a lot to a lot of people. It brings a lot of opportunity and exposure to a lot of individuals. But when you're talking about film and just trying to award someone, I think the reward is actually having your film considered, having to make your film, having your film seen. And I think Guillermo del Toro, he was saying that in his speech. And he basically said what Drake said in the Grammy speech. Like, if someone on your block, if you gave your tape out to 5 of your friends and they listened to it, that's your audience. If you go to a movie theater, you watch a movie, and you go to a movie theater and you see with 5 other people, and they're there to watch your movie, then that's your audience. People go to people sitting at home watching your movie with their families, just watching it in bed, watching it on the subway. That's your audience. That's why you make film. You make it film for them to watch, to see, to indulge, as a getaway, to find pleasure, entertainment, feeling, life. It does a lot of film for a lot of people. And to just kind of mold it around this one award and what should and should not win, I think really takes away from what it is really about. And it's just about making films, enjoying making films, and people enjoying watching films. Whether it's on my tablet, whether it's I do prefer the big screen. I love watching movies on the big screen. But I had that pleasure to do so because I work in a movie theater. I can do that. That's no problem with me. I can do it for free. I can do it for cheap. But some people just can't. So if they can afford $14 a month to watch movies at home on their, otherwise most people have nowadays big screens, then that's their platform. But I do not take away from just going to a movie and the experience of going to a movie. It's great. So how do you make room for this medium, though? If they really wanted to press ahead with this, Netflix, then they most likely would have a theater built where they can showcase their own movies. And then they can become their own chain. Do we doubt that? I don't know how the chips have to fall. I don't know what investments they would have to make. You would have to have other people invest in it. I don't know what part Hollywood would have to invest into it. So, but yeah, it's just one of those things that, hey, enjoy the movies how you can. But I do remember going to the movies and enjoying watching things on screen. It's a wonderful experience. I just recently watched Captain Marvel, and that was a wonderful experience. And I'll tell you, the Twilight scene in this movie was great. That was one of my favorites of this year thus far. And why? Because it was it's a moment of artistic beauty I recognize that really impressed me. And it's not like, oh, Twilight, they're mimicking Twilight the movie, but there is this time, the golden hour, they say, during which you should film. And that's like right before sundown. And man, they captured that scene great. The colors were very flat, but it just set a mood. Kind of like watching Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life. When you see that scene when they're outside, Brad Pitt and with his son or his wife, and I just remember just that twilight scene with sun's going down. They captured it at the right moment. It's so beautiful. In the end, you just keep watching movies. The more you watch, the more they keep making, and the more enjoyment we can all get out of them. And look forward for The Irishman, because that's going to kill next year, even on Netflix. There's a lot going on here. Do I disagree with Spielberg? No. But is it just about this awards show that gets some people so bent out of shape? They can't show on movie theaters because they can't find a distributor that will get them into theaters, because theaters are revoking their business strategy. It's either do or die. It's just kind of what it is. And how do we adapt to this change? How does Hollywood adapt to this change? Martin Scorsese, he's from the ilk of like a Steven Spielberg. He's a film auteur. He loves film. And this man went to Netflix and got a movie made. And he's not really blinking an eye towards it. I guess it all depends on your preference and how this affects you in that industry. We as viewers, we're just happy to watch movies. We're happy when Netflix announces that they have another movie on slate that we're going to love and enjoy. We love our TV shows. I think we love all of it. And now we're just in this consumption age. We just consume so much entertainment because a lot of it is so good. And truthfully, a lot of it is coming from television, quote unquote television. Game of Thrones and all these Walking Dead and all these different shows, Westworld and other things that are playing on platforms, Jack Ryan, and all these other platforms. Those are the only ones I watch, but they're there. But yet the studio, as they continue to make more product, more content for us to consume, movie theater, studios are making less. They need the money set aside in their budgets for those big tentpole movies, the movies that are that will come out in the fall, the movies that will come out in the summer, the ones that will make them the most money. It sucks, but it's the business. And yes, they are not taking chances on a lot of films. And so that's when some of these little smaller companies come in and say, hey, you know what? They don't want to show you a movie. We will. We'll advertise you, put you up there, see if you get an audience. Just watch movies. Endgame and this whole narrative that this Marvel MCU has going, that is like must see, not TV, but must see motion picture type stuff where you wait those 6 months, six to 8 months to see these movies and you are captivated and you want more. It is what it is. You enjoy what you enjoy. And maybe it's just not all about the awards. It's just about you enjoying film. And the Academy is the Academy. It's an old establishment, 100 and something years, maybe almost close to 100 years old. So yes, there's some legacy there. How, and if they have to, how do they adapt? Or do we necessarily want them to adapt? Who says they have to accept these movies? Who says that they have to accept them or give the best picture to Roma? Just by you giving him best cinematography, best director, and some other things, it's like, okay, well, we pretty much know what the best picture was. You just didn't give them an award for it. A lot of the reward, I would think, would be in the amount of people who watch this movie. It's a great film. They watch it, and that's in the end, and that in the end is a wrap, but not a burrito.